Al-Jaafari stresses that the political map has changed due to the steadfastness of the Syrian people. Syrian Arab Army units chased remnants of armed terrorist groups in different areas, including Idleb, in which an infiltration attempt by terrorists into Ariha was foiled. A fourth round of nuclear negotiations between Iran and the Group of 5+1 in Vienna. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. Syria's permanent representative to the UN, Dr. Bashar Al-Jaafari, said Lakhdar al-Ibrahimi has tendered his resignation as a UN envoy, and it is too early to talk about his successor. He added that al-Ibrahimi has committed a lot of mistakes during his term in office, including his intervention in Syria's internal affairs, pointing out that a mediator does not interfere in any state's affairs. In a press conference yesterday, Dr. Al-Jaafari described the French foreign minister's statements as irresponsible, as they urge for the use of force. He stressed that France is part of the problem, not the solution. Al-Jaafari referred to the mistakes committed by the American administration, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Turkey towards the Syrian people, affirming that many terrorists have come from Europe and entered Syria via Turkish borders. Al-Jaafari said, Israel supports the armed terrorists, receiving the wounded members of the Takfiri groups and training the so-called Free Army. Al-Jaafari added that the influential countries at the UN Security Council, which help the armed terrorist groups in Syria in addition to some Arab countries, have a political plan to change the situation in Syria by force, but the Syrian people have decided to determine their own future. Concerning national reconciliation, Al-Jaafari said, the Syrian government strongly encourages national reconciliation in all its forms on all Syrian national soil. He said, some armed groups have decided to turn themselves in, and hundreds are surrendering themselves and handing over their weapons every day according to agreement among concerned parties. Russia's permanent representative to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, said his country has submitted a draft resolution at the UN Security Council intended to cover the humanitarian situation in Syria. In a press conference he held in New York, Churkin said there are positive signs related to the recent local arrangement realized in the city of Homs, particularly the fact that the Syrian government and the various elements of the opposition, in addition to international agencies, have exerted big efforts to reach such formula. About a possible successor to al-Ibrahimi, Churkin said the names proposed by the UN Secretary General would be considered. Churkin stressed that the third round of the Geneva talks should kick off as soon as possible, adding that the Syrian government is ready for this, whereas no clear stand has been voiced by the opposition concerning this issue. Churkin asked why the presidential elections in Syria have been linked to the first Geneva statement, which does not oppose such elections. He said, in Idleb, a unit of the Syrian Arab Army foiled an infiltration attempt by terrorists who tried to sneak from Azdawiya mountain into the secure areas in Ariha in Idleb countryside, killing many terrorists and injuring others. Syrian Arab Army units targeted several hideouts for the terrorists in the villages of Saliyeh and Kafarjalis, killing many terrorists, including non-Syrians. Syrian Arab Army units also destroyed a factory for making explosive devices, as well as a store for ammunition and a number of vehicles equipped with heavy machine guns. In Aleppo, water started gradually to return to a number of neighborhoods in Aleppo after resuming the main pumping station for drinkable water in Suleiman al-Halabi neighborhood. Director of the General Company for Drinkable Water and Sanitation in Aleppo, Engineer Mustafa Melhis, told Sana that pumping water to the main tankers in the city has started, adding that the water will return gradually to all parts in the city until tomorrow evening. In support of the national principles and the upcoming presidential elections, the inhabitants of Ash-Shaghur neighborhood have held a mass rally presenting artistic performances and reciting national poems greeting the occasion. Sheikh Sabri Al-Shanawani said, "The people of the iconic Ash-Shaghur neighborhood say yes to the nomination of Dr. Bashar al-Assad to the post of President of the Republic, as he is the most qualified to lead and defend Syria." On his part, People's Assembly member, Deputy Chairman of the Damascus Chamber of Commerce, Bahauddin Hassan, said, "We want a president who takes Syria to safety and is capable of overcoming the crisis and restoring love and reconciliation." Poet Al-Sheikh Nabras al-Musallit recited a poem on the role of the opposition abroad in summoning foreign intervention. People's Assembly member Atif al-Zaybaq referred to the victories of the Syrian Arab Army to defeat the armed terrorist groups and restore security to Syria. Secretary of the Second Ba'ath Arab Socialist Party section Samir Abdel Noor said the upcoming elections are a big national event, affirming that Syria will come out of the present crisis stronger than it had been thanks to the determination and perseverance of the Syrian Arab Army. The election campaigns of the three candidates to the post of President of the Republic continue in most governorates, upholding major national mottos that stress the importance of Syria's steadfastness in combating terrorism and working to build the homeland, bring about reconstruction, and consecrate national reconciliation. Meanwhile, marches continue throughout Syrian cities, hailing the upcoming presidential elections and voicing determination to choose a candidate who can embody the Syrians' ambitions in the next phase and is capable of combating terrorism and embodying national unity. President Bashar al-Assad issued Decree number 19 for the year 2014, which stipulates the establishment of Hama University in the city of Hama, which will include 11 different colleges for various academic fields like medicine and humanities. Minister of Higher Education Dr. Malik Muhammad stressed that establishing Hama University will have positive impact on the development of education in the governorate of Hama in particular and Syrian university students in general. A number of world countries celebrated on the 26th of April the International Day for Intellectual Property.
The Ministry of Internal Trade and Consumer Protection, in keeping with this tradition of celebrating the International Day for Intellectual Property, as Syria has already joined a number of treaties on international property and copyrights in the field of industry and education, held recently a number of activities attracting youth and children for the sake of encouraging art and creative production.
We have won the first place in this concourse of inventors because we have been invented a new process to treat the olive mill waste. As you know, the olive mill waste coming from the press is containing a lot of poisons. So it is not allowed to be spent directly to the lands. For that, we have invented a new and complete process for the treatment of this kind of water.
I'd like to say that we are happy to be here. As Syria tells, social responsibility has always been focusing on the initiatives which support the innovative mind and inventiveness in Syria. It's part of our social responsibility, and we are always going on with these kinds of activities, and we hope that we will always support every type of initiative that we receive, We wish all these Syrian inventors all the best.
The national competition for invention and creativity was concluded yesterday in Al-Asad Library, during which gifts and souvenirs were distributed among artists and young inventors, which included the youngest creative child and the youngest creative youth, in addition to the best creative artist among university students.
I come in with unstoppable desk. It's a normal desk but with creative addition. I make it more comfortable and to give some relax in with using hand.
Today was a great day for us in this festival of creations of students who made them. I was one of the participants who joined this festival, and it was very fun, and I had lots of a good time. I would like to thank everyone who joined this festival and who joined and gave in a creation.
The competition is considered a new challenge to the difficult circumstances Syria is facing as a result of the terrorist war launched against it.
Palestinian people commemorate tomorrow the 66th anniversary of 1948 Nakba and the Zionist occupation of the larger section of Palestine through the support of British mandate. 66 years ago, more than 1 million Palestinians found themselves homeless, facing the unprecedented catastrophe of the mass deportation of their native land. More than 500 Palestinian villages and towns were ethnically cleansed of their native population by the Zionist thugs, who were led by the Haganah and Argun gangs. However, the Palestinian national struggle continued over the years despite many hurdles and setbacks. The Palestinian people are more determined now to liberate their land and restore their stolen legitimate rights. The fourth round of nuclear negotiations between Iran and the group of 5+1 has started in the Austrian capital, Vienna. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Jawad Zarif stressed that his team is quite ready for a serious round of talks in order to reach a final draft for a potential agreement on Iran's nuclear file, which includes lifting the sanctions imposed on his country, pointing out that viewpoints were exchanged with EU Foreign Affairs Coordinator Catherine Ashton on the necessity of reaching an agreement. Now to latest business and market news after a short break. Stay tuned.